Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you all again. I think all my settings are okay. Alright, so before we get into what we're doing today, happy Friday to you. Also, Alchemortis is available for wish listing, so definitely do that if you're interested. And the playtest for Alchemortis, the public playtest, is going to go live right after this stream. So if you're interested, join the Discord to be notified when that goes live. But yeah, the playtest was available for Patreon members for a week, and now it's going to go live here in just a couple of hours for everyone else. You'll be able to join that playtest from the Steam page when it goes live. So again, join the Discord to be notified when that happens. You can still support me on Patreon though if you're interested. The top tier here has a couple of nice perks. For one, I will send you a full a key for the full game when the game releases. So it's like a pre-purchase basically, and your name will be listed in the Alchemortis in-game credits. So if you subscribe to this tier for 1 month, those perks are going to be yours. And then I also have my Udemy courses available for sale. These courses will teach you how to build a complete game in the Godot engine. So if you've been wanting to learn how to use Godot, definitely check those out. Those help me out a lot as well. So everything is linked in the description below. And the Discord is probably going to be the most important thing for you to join so that you can be notified when that playtest goes live. It's almost here. So it's almost here. Hello, Clickertail. Welcome back. Edo Makes Games, good to see you. Sid, welcome, welcome. Are you making money off streams? I'm just wondering if it's possible if there are no donations. Yeah, I mean, streams, they get ads shown on them like normal YouTube videos. So if there are no donations, then I still get some ad revenue for each video. It's not a lot. It's like a good video might be like $3 of ad revenue, maybe. So it's not, it's not a way of making any significant money. How fire is your belly? It's on fire today. Alchemortis will not launch November 19th, 2026. Is that a GTA joke? Was thinking about starting with the money. Wait, was thinking about the starting with money thing. What if it's similar to Slay the Spire, where you're offered a pre-run choice of something like some money, particular reagent, or random rare minion, etc. Yeah, I need to figure out how to vary up the starting conditions a little bit, I think. So yeah, we'll definitely try to figure that out. I mean, that's kind of like what I wanted to do with the nodes options, is like, you can go to a booster, or you can go to an enchant. That was kind of the point of like having only certain starting nodes available to the player. Maybe I just need to add more nodes into the game that can be starting nodes. I think it would be interesting to have a node type in the game that just gives you currency. Maybe it could even give you currency based on how many cards you sacrifice or something, but yeah, we'll figure it out. Hello, A the Ant, welcome back. How many supporters at the moment? I don't know. I haven't checked. I don't know the exact number. I'm sorry. Artifact idea. Your max HP will increase by 1 for every single blood you have. Okay, that's an interesting idea. Finally lurking. Good morning, Neozoid. Good morning, Ninja Link. I'll have to settle for some second-hand game development this week, it seems. Uh-oh. Sorry to hear that. Yep, they delayed GTA 6 again. That's okay. I'm not going to buy it anyway. I don't really care that much about GTA 6. It'll come out in November of 2026, and then the PC version won't be out until like 3 years after that. So I'll be an old man by then. I'll probably be aged out of video games. Hello, Shirley. Morning, and probably donation for your McDonald's lunch. Happy Friday. Thank you for the $10. For everyone that's... I don't think I've told anyone, but Shirley here... Shirley is my fiance, so can we get a congratulations for Shirley for agreeing to marry such a handsome and charming fella? Thank you again. GTA 6.5 Alchemortis collab, yeah. Okay, what are we doing today? Thank you, Ninja Link. Thank you, V. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. All right, so I'm in the middle of... What am I in the middle of? I'm in the middle of doing a big code refactor that probably didn't need to be done, but I'm reworking how some of the abilities work, especially the abilities that look back in the turn history. Thank you, Emerson. So I was reworking some of my abilities here, trying to clean up my code base, and I don't think I succeeded. I think I made it worse. No, I didn't make it worse. It's better now, but I've got a big problem here. So basically, I have this thing called an ability listener. So how do I explain this? Do I even need to explain it? Maybe I'll just not explain it. So we've got this ability tracker provider. What this ability tracker provider does is it tracks the number of times a certain ability has been executed, a certain ability type has been executed. And this is useful for cards like the Sage here, because the Sage heals for each time the opponent applied poison since last execution. So what this ability type tracker provider does is I track poison that was done by the opponent board. And then this ability type tracker provider, it ultimately is an I ability value provider of type int, which basically means it has a get value method that returns an integer, and that value is going to be the total number of executions. So that's how it works. But the problem is that number is updated when execute is called, which happens during the normal ability flow. The problem is that when I go and inspect a card and I want to see an up-to-date description, if I'm clicking on the description after the previous execution, it's going to potentially be out of date. So I actually need to have a listener on this ability type tracker provider, this on ability executed listener, which will respond in real time to abilities that were executed that are of the type that are being tracked. Okay, but the problem beyond that is that in my base card where I actually am doing that notification here, I have no way currently, I don't have enough context to know whether the ability was executed on an opponent board or whether it was executed on the owning board, the card, the board that the ability belongs to, basically. So that's kind of where we're at. I have to figure out how to fix this. I think I have an approach for it, but we're going to have to figure that out. Marrying one of your YouTube subscribers, yeah. I think it was the other way around. She subscribed to me after we met. It's time for game dev once again. Thank you, JKHE. Welcome back, Jackie Daytona, by the way. I'm a little bit slow today. I stayed up too late playing Arc Raiders again. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. We lost a lot of good men last night. Anyway, so on ability executed, I think what I need to do in here is I need to pass in the listening card. I think I need to pass that in, and I need to, let's see. think I'll convert these to tuples here. And we're going to do a card like so. Do I need this X is opponent target? I don't know if I need that information anymore. Card. Let's just do dot to what? To list. Alrighty. All listeners. This is a listener tuple. How does this work? Can I do listener card var listener ability? Abilities. That should work. For each var listener in listener abilities. Listener on ability executed, listener card. Okay, is that going to be enough context? Hopefully that'll be enough context. Thank you, everyone. I'm lucky to have them. That's very sweet. Thank you, Shirley. We are too. You guys are too much. You guys are too much, but thank you. All right. What? Ability list. Why is this not working? Oh, I need to put right the listener card down here. Put the listener card there. And then what? Update count. So I almost need to do like a var owner board equals execution context public board get board for card base card. We'll just do if source board dot board inventory component dot has card is equal to true. Then we will return source board. Else if target board inventory component has card equals true there, return target board. That card script is getting hefty. What are your thoughts on architectures you work through a refactor? So the heftiness of a script can be an indicator that you need to split things up, but it's not always an indicator. I think a squirrel just fell out of a tree outside my window. Anyway, so the heftiness of a script does not always mean that it needs to be split up. It's a good heuristic. It's a good like smell. Like if you have a multi-hundred line script or a script that, you know, is approaching 1,000 lines, it's a good indicator that you should at least investigate breaking it up. But it's not always the case that simply because you have a hefty script, it needs to be broken up. So in the case of this base card, this is a over 600 line script here, but every single method in here is directly related to the card. it's directly related to the card's functionality. So being able to get the critical chance, being able to get the turn cooldown, being able to increment its tier, being able to grab its abilities, being able to reset its state, so on and so forth. And a lot of these methods in here are just variations, are different flavors of the same functionality. So for instance, get base flattened abilities, get all flattened abilities, get all combat executable abilities, get all combat executable composed abilities. These are all very similar in structure, but they return slightly different data sets depending on what I need. So, there's a lot of, these are all necessary even though they're slightly different. Anyway, I guess the point is that, could I split this card up? And the answer is, yeah, of course I could. Like, you can always do that, right? But would it make sense? Like, would splitting this up across multiple different classes, would that actually improve the productivity, the ability to work on this? And so far, the answer I've come up with is no, it doesn't. It's actually easier to have everything in this base card class because let's say that I have these abilities here. Where are the abilities? Yeah, these composed abilities. Let's just say I split off all ability-related functionality into a separate, like, containing class, base card ability, or card abilities or whatever. That's not really going to make a difference in the cleanliness of this script. Yeah, it would reduce the line count, but it's not going to give me anything beyond just like reducing the line count of this script. That's basically it. And there's a bunch of other data related to the card in here that I need when I'm iterating over the abilities as well. So anyway, that's just how I think about it. So yeah. If anything, maybe the thing to do would be to remove this execute abilities, because this is like game logic here. So if anything, maybe the most reasonable place to split this script up would be to move the actual card execution logic to somewhere else and just have the card basically just be like a container of data that I can just store all the ability information in, and then anything related to the card state or the card execution could potentially be moved into a separate, more game logic or game state class that manages all that stuff. But again, that's not really necessary. Don't refactor until something gets hard to reason about and I can abstract some aspect of it that makes it easier. Sometimes just having everything in view makes it easier to reason about. Yeah, that's a good way of saying it for sure. I mean, sometimes you just know from experience from the start. Yeah. So that's the other thing too. It's like, if you have a lot of programming experience like I do, you will fall into certain like good practices and patterns without necessarily being able to put a name to it. So like, I don't have a really good theoretical understanding of like all the different software design patterns that you can put into place, right? But I have no doubt that I'm using them all over the place. It's just I don't know what they're called. The patterns that you could learn about by reading Wikipedia or whatever are just like good guidelines. It's almost like what does good code naturally look like? And you can arrive at that place just through experience. You'll find out what works, you'll find what doesn't. You figure out how many layers of abstraction you need to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, and you'll just kind of like fall naturally into certain good patterns and practices just through experience. It certainly helps to like have the theoretical understanding of all the software patterns, but yeah, it's something that comes with experience too. Anyway, what were we doing? Right, get board for card. Listener card owner is equal to execution context.getBoard for card. Listener card. Wait, that doesn't help either. Does it help? Executed ability owner. Executed ability owner. Wait, I forgot where I was going with this. Son of a bee. Reasonable take. I forgot where I was going with this. So, okay, Kent, I don't need you. Meowing while I'm trying to think. So I need... So in the case of Sage, Sage needs to respond to any poison that the player does. So the player is going to do some poison damage. It's going to call on ability executed on the Sage. This listener card will be Sage. So if the listener card is Sage, basically what I need to do... This is a board here, target board. I think it's just a matter of actually just doing this. Target board, var target board is equal to let's just do this. Board target board equals null if target board equals board target dot source board or equals board target source board. Oh, I don't like this. I almost think, let me think. I wonder if I should just do... Let me go back to my base card here. This is a tricksy one. Next coffee on me. Thank you, Nick Glenn. Appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Very generous. Got a lot of donations today already. Welcome back to the stream, by the way, Nick. Always good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Liu Fix. Welcome. Great way to start Friday. Yes, I agree. I agree. Oh, welcome to the stream, by the way. Yuki Makes Games. Sorry, again, I'm just too... I'm too slow today. I've been staying up too late. That dang Arc Raiders. Why did that game have to come out? It's ruining me. How's the game doing for the fest? For the playtest? Yeah, it's doing well. The public, I'm assuming you mean public playtest. The public playtest for Alka Mortis is going to be live this afternoon. After the stream is over, I'm going to actually get that rolling. So, yeah, again, join the Discord if you're interested in that. I'll be posting an announcement when that's live, and you'll be able to join it from the Steam page. I don't know if I want to do this. Do I want to do this? No, maybe this is fine. So if target board is equal to board target.source board, target board is equal to listener card owner. Else if target board is equal to opponent board, executed ability owner. Is that right? I think I need another... Oh, this is getting confusing. And... So let me just reason about this for a second. So if we're listening for abilities that are coming from the source board, let's just... I'm going to rename this to board target. Okay, so if we're listening to abilities coming from the source board and the execution context is happening from the source board, then we're going to say the target board is equal to listener card owner. If the board target is the opposition board and the execution context dot target board is equal to executed ability, is equal to... This will be source board is equal to executed ability. Well, that's always going to be true. This is always true, so that's not right. I guess I would just make this not equal to... Actually, get... Oh, I need to do this, actually. Get board. I need to do... I think I need to do another one. Public board... Oh, shoot. Is there a way to do this? Do I still not have enough information? Board target equals board target opponent board. I mean, I could do not equal to listener card owner. That's not exactly precise. It's going to work, I think. Oh, wait, hold on. I actually asked the AI yesterday about this. I completely forgot about that. Let's see. Huh? This doesn't make any sense. Get opponent board for card. Oh, I do have a get opponent board for card. Okay, so how am I actually going to do that, though? Public board get opponent board for card. If source board board inventory component dot has card target board. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So let's do listener card owner, listener opponent. So I'm just going to change this. We're going to do listener board and opponent board. Here we go. Get opponent board for card. listener card. Yeah, I need to do listener card in both cases. Okay. And actually, I might not even need... Well... Yeah, this is not right. Maybe it's right, actually. Whatever. I think that's right. Okay. If board target equals source board and the execution context source board is equal to listener board, then we're going to set the target board to listener board. If board target is equal to opponent board and execution context dot source board is equal to opponent board, we're going to set the target board equals to opponent board. Else, if board target is equal to board target dot all boards, then we're going to say target board. Well, we actually don't need to do that because we're already setting it to null up here. Okay, so now we do update count. We're going to do board target board. We're going to pass this in here. This needs to change. We're going to put the target board there. Okay. Did I finally do it? Goodness gracious. Okay. I don't need any of these anymore. Uh-oh. Can't do that, I suppose. All right, I'm just going to do board target type. There we go. We don't need this anymore. Did I finally do it? Did I finally do it? Board target type. So I probably need to fix this everywhere this exists now. Okay. Board target type. Goodness gracious, we're almost there. Now we're going to see if this works. All right, let's build, then we can test it. Hello, Ewerton. How's it going? It's going well. How are you doing? Question, which extensions do you use on your editor for C# plus Godot development? I just use the C# extensions from Microsoft for VS Code, and then all of my other extensions are just random. They're not, those are the most important ones. I've got theme extensions, I've got some JavaScript development extensions which are not related. Copilot, of course. Godot.net tools. I don't know what this does exactly. Oh, I guess this enables easy setup of debugging, so Godot.net tools. Yeah, so those are the main ones, the C# and then the Godot.net tools. Those are the most important ones. Everything else is just cosmetic or for other development. I won the playtest last night. I'll leave some thoughts in the Discord, but man, was it fun to make an OP poison build. Awesome, I'm glad to hear that. I'm very glad to hear that. Everyone has been basically saying that the game is more fun than it was in the previous playtest, and I think a lot of that is due to the increased difficulty scaling, or the change to difficulty scaling. So I evened out the power curves of both the player and the enemy, and I also reworked, or not reworked, but tweaked a lot of cards. So I'm glad to hear that that's working, or that's more fun to play. May help to pull the conditions into names bools to reason about them. Yeah. I got a lucky double board size increase right away along with a rat, so poison just kind of fell into my lap from the get-go. You see, I'm glad that you said that, because what I did is, so the nodes in the map, they are placed based on rules, right? And what I did is I don't want there to be too many board size increases on the map. But what I did is I specifically preserved the ability for you to get two board size increases in a row. It's just relatively rare. So the fact that you encountered one of those is pretty cool. Because I don't want to just like come up with a bunch of sterile rules like, oh, well, there can't be 2 board size increases within a 4 traversal radius of each other, because then that'll make the game feel very stale. So what I did is I tweaked the rules slightly to, I think what I did is I say, how did I do that rule? I think I changed the rule so it's more like there can only be up to 1 board size increase within a certain radius of another board size increase. So instead of saying there can't be any within the radius, I say there can be up to 1. And I think that's what creates that possibility for doubles. Did you experience a lot of close calls at the beginning of the run too? I was strictly poison card and nearly died a whole bunch of times. Wasn't strictly poisoned until the cards show up maybe after 1 or 2 combats. I was able to avoid combat till I got a few cards, but the first combats were difficult till I got the rat to tier 3. Yeah. Love your content and courses. Thank you, Ewerton. Appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and test this. I don't know if this is gonna break everything, but we're gonna see. I've got a bunch of cards to test here. Let's start with this Unholy Water. Okay, that is working now. So that should apply 1 fire, 2 fire. So now the description is updating. And that applied 2 fire. It's going to apply 4 fire now. 6 fire. Should be 7 now. 8. 9. 10. Yeah. So that is now working. So that was the main thing. That was the reason we went through all that hullabaloo, is to get these descriptions to update immediately. So now I've got some other ones to try. What were all the cards that I changed here? Oh, it's going to be tough. I guess I can look at the ability type tracker provider here. So we need the Phylactery and the Ceremonial Dagger. Phylactery, Ceremonial Dagger, Unholy Water. What else? Phylactery, Ceremonial Dagger, Lantern. I'm pretty confident this is going to work, but just need to figure that out. Is this scaling off of itself? Wait, 4 poison should go to 6. Yeah, it's scaling off of itself. That's fine. Cool. All right, so that's working. We'll try the Lantern. Apply 5 preserve for each time fire was applied since last execution. While I'm here, shield on fire applied. I'm pretty sure this is going to work. I do want to try. Oh, I should give. I want to try this. Training dummy. Where is it? Ability builder.fire. 1. Okay. Is there a way to have the slime use that same update system to see how much damage it's about to do prior to execution? The slime, yeah, I mean, it would be technically possible. The thing about the slime is that it's a little bit different because, so these are tracking the number of executions, whereas the slime is tracking the actual damage dealt. And so it should be possible, yeah. I need to take a slightly different approach for that because it's actually tracking the value of an ability execution rather than just counting when the ability gets executed, if that makes sense. So that's going to apply fire. That's going to apply. So that's 3, 4. Okay, that didn't work. Maybe this only works for allied cards. Nope, it says all boards here. So this is not working. So that's not working. Why is that not working? Well, only one way to find out, I suppose. Let's do a debug session. Only one way to find out why this one isn't working. So put this here. Okay, so this ability type is fire. Oh wait, yeah, I'm waiting for let's just put a breakpoint here. Okay, so that's working. Listener board is player board. Opponent board is whatever, yeah, just the enemy board that was created. If board target, that's all boards, so that's gonna fail. That's gonna fail. So then we go to update count here. We can step into that. Turn context is this. Last turn execution index should be 0. History entries, we're gonna grab all those. So we've got 3 turn history entries. So we got fire there. Get total ability executions of type. Still 0. Did I do this wrong? We're tracking fire. Buy board will be null. Exclude card will be null. So sum entry ability entry data dot count. Data.ability get type is equal to ability type, and entry.source board equals null. Oh, no. This is wrong. Yeah, this is wrong. This needs to be buy board equals null. Okay, so that was broken. Let's do it again. This is why we debug. Actually, you know what? Debugging wasn't really helpful right there, but that's all right. Wait, Lantern is counting opponent abilities as well? I had no idea. You learn something new every day. Yeah. So I'm trying to be specific with the language. If it tracks every ability, it will not, it will just say anytime, it'll just say like, for each time fire was applied since last execution. For allied, it will say that specifically. So fire applied grows by 1 each time the enemy heals, right? So that's telling you that it only works off of enemy board. And then this one says apply 0 poison. Poison applied grows by 1 every time an allied card applies poison. So there's indications in the description of how that works. If it doesn't say either ally or enemy, it means that it's global. It just works based on any fire execution. Yeah, so that's working now. That's pretty cool. I need to redo some of these visual effects. I think the fire looks really good as an effect, but I'm not so happy with the shield and such. But okay, I think that's working now. I think that's working. Never noticed the language there before. Gotcha, yeah. This is why I kind of want to do like an in-game encyclopedia, which can go a little bit more in detail about how, like, I think I would like to surface to the player like the internals of how the logic is working for players who want to know that, you know. So you could open up the encyclopedia and you could read all about, you know, how does turn order work, which cards go first, how do different abilities scale off of each other. I think there is one thing that I want to do, though. I don't think that... I think the phylactery should scale off of any additional poison abilities it has, but it shouldn't scale off of the poison ability that it's doing, because that's just going to create a feedback loop. So let's do this. Public. Funk. Base card ability. Bool. Ability type filter. Or ability type filter, invoke, executed ability is not equal to true. Or wait. Equals false. So now in here, what I can do is I can do ability type filter, ability is not equal to poison ability. So we just don't want this to scale off of this ability here. So that should work. Might take the plunge into Win 11. What's your thoughts? Yeah, I mean, Windows is just a big old shambling corpse. A pile of spaghetti with lipstick on. But it's functional. I mean, the thing about Windows is that it's becoming super bloated with all the AI crap and the Windows Store stuff and all that stuff. But you can disable a lot of that stuff. The thing I like about Windows is that it's still largely plug and play. Like I don't ever have any like software issues. I don't have any issues where apps just won't run, you know. All the drivers work fine. I don't need to mess with any of that. Like it's still very plug and play, which I like. But yeah, outside all the bloatware stuff, it's fine. You know, is it the best operating system Microsoft has ever made? No. I think what's really annoying is I used to have my taskbar at the top of the screen, but Windows 11, you can't do that. So I don't know. That's a step backwards, but that's all right. Apply 1 poison. That should be 3 poison. 4. Should be 5 after this one. It's still applying 6. Why? Oh, I need this to be the... No. Oh, I see why this is not working. Oh no. Now I got another problem to deal with. So this ability type filter here is working for this situation here, but it's not working. It's not working for this. This is going to be so messy. I don't like this method at all, but ability filter, invoke. Not equal to false. So I need to pass this ability filter along inside of this as well. Ability type filter. Goodness gracious. All right, we're going to get it. To be fair though, vanilla Debian has very few hurdles now for the same plug and play experience, especially with Steam. Yeah, that's good to know. Would I do that too? Man, I'm going to miss my top taskbar, yeah. Yeah, I miss it. I miss it. So we got 1, 2. Okay, now it's working. Should be 8 now. Good. All right. So I just wanted to exclude this poison that's applied here from buffing itself, but I've preserved the ability where if you add poison to this phylactery, it will scale. This ability will scale off of itself. So I think that'll work just fine. Let me just take a look at where else this is used. See if I need to make that similar change somewhere else. I think I need to make it here as well. Okay, that should work. Okay, I think we're finally done. Finally done with all that. Goodness. The game looks great. Did you do the assets or bought them? I'm doing all the art myself. The music, I'm paying somebody for the music, and then the sound effects are just coming from a sound effects library that I have the rights to use. So, yeah, but the art is done all by me, for sure. Welcome, by the way, Linux. All right, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we will find something else to work on. There is no shortage of things to do, so we'll figure out what we're going to do here, but give me just 3 minutes. I'll be right back, and we will continue on. All right, your favorite niche micro internet celebrity is back. Let's figure out what we're gonna do. Let me see. Upgrade indicator does not work for L-shaped cards with top left cell missing. Right. Hello, Meep. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Micro, yeah. I don't know. Should we do, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to do more cards? Do you want to do an artifact? Do you want to do more reagents? What do you want to see? What do you want to see? There's this bug here that we could fix, but that's not super fun to do. We could add maybe, well, let me think. I want catapults. Ninja Link says artifact. Artifacts, let's see. Gotta think of, I want to think of like a really outside the box artifact here. I mean, Monkey Paw would be cool. Critical chance doubled, but chance to fail and damage self or heal enemy. Enemy minions have turn cooldown increased by 1. Cards are upgraded by an additional tier whenever you're using upgrade. That's a cool one. Increased damage based on held currency. That's a good one too. Increased fire applied but increased time to trigger. Fire stacks remain after triggering. Oh, that's an interesting one. There's an interesting one, like it could be thorns, enemy, whenever you take, what do I want to say? Well, I don't need to come up with the exact wording, but whenever you take shield damage, equal damage is done to enemy. Something like that. So if you've got like 10 shield and the enemy hits you for 5 and does 5 shield damage, they will take 5 damage in return. What do you think about that? Is that a good one? Because I definitely think there was somebody that said, I forgot who it was, but that it's really hard to do a shield build. So I'm starting to think of more like stuff that works off of preserve. That one sounds interesting to me. What do you think? Anyone have an opinion? Sounds OP but cool, like a spiked shield. Yeah, something like that. Welcome Asymmetrics, by the way. Sounds OP, but the idea is cool. We could, I mean, is there a way to change it so it's not super OP? Oh, I'm always here watching, waiting. Okay. C# seems more for precise. Oh, seems far more precise than GDScript. I assume it's worth the switch, trying to decide if I start the next Godot project in VS Code. Precise, yeah, I don't know if that's the word to use. It is certainly, for me, it's easier to keep track of the structure of my code because you have that highly structured C#. So yeah, making a game like this, like Alchemortis, with all these like different abilities and stuff, would definitely be more challenging with GDScript, I think, than C#. So if you're building a game with a lot of complexity and you're going to benefit from the highly structured code that C# gives you, then yeah, you should definitely consider it. I would say. Use VS Code regardless, honestly. Yeah, VS Code is really good actually with GDScript, for sure. Agreed, yeah. What's a task tracking software called? Obsidian. Obsidian with the Kanban plugin. All right, let's do these thorns. We'll figure out how to make these thorns work better, but let's go ahead and just do this. I don't have a create artifact tool. I don't think I need one actually. We'll just create a new resource. Artifact resource. Let's just call it thorns. Art. I'm just going to copy this for now. Paste. Description. Whenever an enemy damages, preserve, deal damage equal to take in something like that. I don't know. Okay, so we've got thorns there. We're going to have to create that. We're going to have to create that artifact script. Okay. That's it. The artifact's done. No, it's not. let me see what I have available in my base artifact here. On damage dealt, 2 board damage context. So I think I just want to override this. Override void on damage dealt. We're going to need this board. We're going to need the damage context. Okay. Okay. We're going to do if damage context dot damage type is not equal to damage type dot shield. We'll return out of that. Or to board. Is this the best way to do this? Yeah, I guess we're going to have to do that. Board manager is equal to context helper, scene tree root, get board manager. Player board is equal to board manager dot get player board. To board is not equal to player board. Okay, so if we're not taking shield damage or the board taking damage is not the player board, then we're just going to return out of that early. And so now what we need to do is we need to get the opponent board, which is board manager get opponent board, and then we're going to apply some damage. So we're going to say opponent board dot board combat component dot damage, and we're going to need we need this execution context. How am I doing this? Vampire Fangs. I'm just passing along the execution context. Do I need to change it? Execution context, current turn history. I guess I need a new execution context. So let's do... equals execution context with... source board is equal to player board. By card, base card is equal to null. I think that's all I need to do. I need a cleaner way of doing this, but should be fine. I just want to see if there's anywhere else where I'm doing that. We're really only reading the source board and base card. So I think that's really the only things that I need to change here. So execution context with source board equals player board, base card equals null. We're going to damage with the modified execution context here. And then we can do a new damage context. Okay. Oh. I guess we'll have the AI do this. I'm about to cancel you. Okay, thank you. Okay, source board equals player board. Damage type is equal to damage type dot physical. Damage amount is equal to damage context dot damage amount, right? Is critical hit. I guess we'll just preserve the critical. So we'll say if critical damage is dealt to the shield. Well, actually, if critical damage is dealt to the shield, how does that work actually? So if I'm doing damage physical, right, it is marking if it's a crit or not. Okay, so we'll just preserve it whether it's a crit. So you'll do like crit thorns back if you take a crit hit. I think that's basically it. I think that's the entirety of that artifact. I think that's it. How about they take the damage equal to half the damage dealt if they do not deal enough damage to break all of the preserve? That's an interesting one. Thanks, Mr. Streamer. You're welcome, Mr. Sam. Maybe the damage could be a smaller percentage of the total shield, so your scaling don't depend on damage taken. Right, yeah. Don't you have a tool to create the basic artifact setup? I mean, like the cards? I don't. No, not yet. I mean, a tool would be kind of overkill because I really just need two things for the artifact. I need the artifact resource and the script. I could do a tool for that. It might improve things a little bit, but the reason why a tool was kind of necessary for the base card is because it needs to set up the card directory for the art. It needs to copy the Sprite template file. It needs to set up the card definition resource, and it needs to set up a script with some basic predefined functionality. So that's why I have a card script, because it's a lot more work. Not a lot more, but you know. So we're probably going to have to modify this, as you all are noticing, because it's very strong. But let's just start off with thorns here, and then I'm going to just give myself a couple of skull towers. And we'll see if this works. Oh, I still have my generate test map on. Let's try it again. I always do that. Cool. All right, let's just go here. Skip that. All right, let's see what happens. Thorns. Whenever an enemy damages preserve, deal damage equal to preserve damage taken. So I've got 14, so this guy should take... Oh, he didn't take any damage. Okay. Interesting. Did I do something wrong here? Damage context, damage type is not equal to shield. I wonder why that didn't work. Well, I guess we'll do a breakpoint. The artifacts are on the same file, right? You don't need to create new files. Right, yeah. Let's try it again. Player board. So that's working. Oh, it failed. 2 board. Oh, it dealt. Oh, I need this to be shield damage. It's always physical. Why is it always physical? I wonder if I'm just not... Hold on a second. Oh. Oh. So the problem is the shield damage is only being logged in the turn history rather than... Shoot. So the problem is this damage context here is being passed through. This is only it's only going to be physical damage, and it gets passed along in this artifact manager on damage dealt, which ultimately ends up here. So I'm actually never getting shield damage into this, which is why it's not working. And the reason is because the shield damage is actually determined here. So physical damage comes in, it will detect that physical damage, and then what it will do is it will try to damage the shield first, and then it will return the shield damage dealt plus the remaining damage from the physical damage. And then if shields were damaged, then it creates a damage entry for that. But this is a totally different thing, this damage entry. Shoot, how am I going to fix this? Oh no. On damage dealt tracked. I don't know how I'm going to fix this. Always here if you need a lifeline for a tricky bug. Thank you, appreciate that. I wouldn't say it's not necessarily a tricky bug, because I know what the problem is. I know why the bug is happening. The tricky part is how do I listen for the information that I need without spaghettifying my code, right? Like that's the part that's going to be tricky. So basically what I need to do is, because the shield damage is being logged in the history object, so I'm keeping a long-running history of every ability that was executed along with, you know, how much damage it did or whatever else. That's all going into the turn history, this turn context here. And I've got a list of history entries as well as the current history that represents the current turn that everything's being added to. And after the current turn is over, this current history gets rolled into this list of turn histories. So this is very useful because I can just read the entire history of the combat and I can sum up values if I want. So if I want to know the total amount of damage that has been dealt by the enemy board during combat, I have all of the data necessary to do that. So the problem is that shield damage is not an explicit damage type. Shield damage only gets handled when physical damage is taken, and it only gets logged in the turn history. So what needs to happen here is I need to somehow get that new turn history entry and get that data over into the artifact script so that I can respond to it. The problem is I don't know how I'm going to do that in a way that doesn't absolutely blow up the spaghettification of my code. Because as it stands right now, I mean, the artifact here, it has the execution context from that damage that was entered. And this execution context contains the turn context, which contains the turn history. So I could go into that as a response to damage being dealt. I could go into the turn history and look. The problem is that I could have an indefinite number of... I guess what I'm trying to say is that there's no reliable way of knowing which shield entry in the current turn history is the one that I should be responding to. What I could do, potentially, no, that won't work either. I was going to say what I could do is I could just get the most recent damage to shield. The problem though is that, let's say that last turn you took shield damage and it reduced your shielding to 0, and then the next turn you take more damage. If I just say get the last shield damage done, it's going to be referring to the previous turn. It's not going to be referring to the current turn. And if the current turn does multiple instances of damage where the first instance of damage eliminates my shield and the second instance of damage just does pure damage, again, that's not going to work because I don't know that that second instance of damage didn't do any shield damage, right? So the question is, how do I get the information that I need into this artifact script, which is an entirely different system basically, without making it my code just a mess? That is the question. Yep. Does it count as damage even when blocked by the shield? No, it gets logged as a separate damage type. Yep, following you so far. What about a generational index or precedence value? Could you elaborate on that? I'm not sure. Precedence value. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. Can't you take the difference between damage dealt initially and the damage less shield? I mean, that is how I'm getting the shield damage that was dealt. So it's not a problem of determining how much damage the shield took. It's about getting that instance of damage into the artifact so that it can respond to it. That way you can modify relevance. Sorry, just brainstorming for an epiphany. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate it for sure. So, I mean, I think there's a couple of ways that I can do this. One thing I could do is I could just, every time damage is tracked, I could do what I'm doing here, which is I have a static method in Artifact Manager. So like on damage dealt here, this is a static method that gets called at the end of when a board combat component receives damage. And what that does is that just calls that static method in here. It will check if the singleton exists. And if the singleton does exist, it just iterates over all the artifacts and calls this on damage dealt with all of that context data, which is what I'm using right now. The problem is that the damage context coming in here will never contain a shield damage type. So what I could do is I could do another notification for what? Tracking a damage entry. The other thing I could do is so this damage type, I could make it so this damage context supports specifically damaging shield, and almost do this in a recursive way where if I'm taking physical damage and I need to damage the shield, what I could do is I could just call, like here, damage shield with the appropriate damage context. And then what that would do is I would just be able to handle that as a separate case in here. So case damage type dot shield. And then I can handle it like I handle every other kind of damage. And that would allow that new shield damage context to propagate to the artifacts down here. The question is that going to cause any negative side effects? If I'm creating a new damage context object inside of here? Because right now it's just like, you know, it's very straightforward. If a damage context goes in, a damage context comes out. But now I could be dealing with a situation where I pass in one damage context, but then all of a sudden this damage gets called twice with two different contexts. Is that going to be a problem? Or what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? Basically, instead of looking at the last shield damage, you could track an integer on each one and then sort by that integer instead of last. Oh, I got you. I rely on generational indices and precedence values a lot for ordered and out of order evaluation, like producing values via shunting yard and then needing to modify them later. I'm trying to think if that would solve this problem. I don't know, man. I didn't get enough sleep last night. This freaking Arc Raiders. I'm going to uninstall Arc Raiders right now. Just kidding. I'm not going to do that. Seems like one of those problems where you go to work on art for a while and then brainstorm. Yeah, I think I've got a number of options available to me. It's not that I don't know how to solve this problem. It's more so that I kind of just need to churn through the pros and cons of each approach. I kind of like this approach of just spinning off a new damage context object and calling this recursively to specifically damage the shield. Because right now the shield damage tracking is being done as part of the physical case. So you could make an argument that that actually doesn't make sense because this has a side effect in here of also logging shield damage. So what I could do is split that out as a separate case in here to handle the damage type for shield. And that would simplify this physical block here, or make this physical block more tailored to just physical damage. But also because I'm creating a damage context object for the shield, that will just get passed through to my artifact notification code that I already have. I think that might be the way to go. The problem is that, yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's going to be any other side effects to that I don't want. Maybe we play Arc Raiders later and we can chat about it. Hey, I'm down to play. I'm down to play. I have lots of techniques for dealing with data produced in specific order due to all the language design stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. You're definitely going to be far more knowledgeable than me on that stuff. I'm trying to think if this... Honestly, I think that this approach is going to work. Okay. I need a separate method for this. Damage shield. What am I doing? Damage shield. Thank you. Let's do private int get shield damage. So I'm gonna have to handle this for fire and shielding. Shield status, status component get shield status. If shield status not equal to null, get absorbable damage. Return incoming damage greater than stacks. Stacks, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So get absorbable damage return. Okay, so we're just going to do this. Return status component, get status. Get absorbable damage. Damage. Gotta love those one-liners. Okay, so we can get absorbable shield damage. Okay. All right, so let's do this. Var absorbable shield damage is equal to get absorbable shield damage. And we're just going to spin off a new damage context object. So we're going to do damage execution context, new damage context. Actually, I guess we could do this. Damage context with damage amount equals absorbable shield damage, damage type shield. Var remaining damage. Damage context, damage amount minus absorbable shield damage. Oh, we need to do this if it ignores preserve. What is going on? Damage context dot ignore preserve. This is going to go away. And then down here, if damage context dot amount is less than or equal to 0, we'll just break out of that. Damage context dot damage amount. Okay. Goodness gracious. So I'm going to need to do something similar for the fire as well. It's called we do a little copy pasting. Okay. This goes away. If remaining damage, I'm seeing that this probably was an error here. So we'll just go ahead and fix that. All right, so now I'm just calling damage again with the specific shield damage type. And then that will get handled down here. Now this is actually not damaging the shield, so I need to call damage shield damage context dot damage amount, damage context that is critical hit. I don't need to return anything out of here anymore, I don't think. So just void here. Okay. Let's see if that works. So I wonder if my thorns are going to work now. I'm going to have to thoroughly test this as well. Make sure that that didn't horribly break anything. Alrighty. Skull Tower. Give me those items. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see what happens. We got a little mouse. Look at how cute the mouse is. Okay, anyway. Let's see if this works. So I'm going to watch the combat log as well. So Skull Tower applied 7 preserve, applied 7 preserve. That's still good. Let's see what happens. Enemy board took 1 damage, took 6 damage. Oh, look at that. It is working now. So it's basically taking 7 damage every time it hits me. So the enemy board took 1 damage, or took 6 damage. That's from the dog. The field mouse dealt 1 preserve damage. So yeah, we could see the dog dealt 6 preserve damage. Then the enemy board took 6 damage as a result. Then the field mouse dealt 1 preserve damage. And then the enemy board took 1 damage as a result. So that seems to be working. That seems to be working. I'm going to have to do a more thorough test, but maybe we will save. I'll do that on my own. We don't need to do a bunch of QA testing on stream because we need to do some art for this now. So let me do this. Rework some of board combat component to track shield damage differently. So we'll sync those. Now I need to go find my artifact. This is, where is this? Assets, artifact, artifacts.png. Open file, assets, artifact, artifacts.asprite. Let's turn the background on. Let's create thorns here. How many artifacts are there already? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that 10 rows? So we've got 16 we've got 15 artifacts. It looks like this one is just a variant of this. So 16 artifacts already. Not too bad, not too bad. What is that down there? Oh, I'm going to remove that. Okay. So we got to do thorns now. How am I going to do this? We will see. We will see how this ends up looking. Alrighty. Yeah, we'll see. Doesn't look like much right now, but let's see if I can get this looking a little bit better here. Trying to make it look somewhat like a bramble. Yeah, I think that's looking all right. I think that's looking all right. Sorry, I think my cat was making a weird sound. Anyway. Okay, so now we'll add actual little thorny bits here. And then, of course, we're going to have to do a bunch of shading and whatnot. Did I do this correctly? What do I need? Do I need at least 3 spaces or 2? Oh no. I think I need 3 spaces of room on each of these. Shoot. So there's 3 spaces there. That'll work. What about on the left side here? Why? So it's really just this, that's the problem. I'll just move that up that way. That works. Okay, do I have 3 spaces on each side? Yeah, it looks like it. Okay. Now what I can do is I can start doing some actual shading here. Let's take a look at what I want to do. So this here, I'm going to move this up. We'll just do some very basic shading for now. And then I'll figure out I'm going to do this. That should work. Okay, we want to shade this darker. Cool. That's looking all right. Okay. Probably don't need to go too hard on the shading here. I think that's already looking pretty good. Yeah, and then I'm going to try doing this. I don't know if this is going to look right. Probably not. Nope. So it looks like we're not really going to have many opportunities to use that white, but I wonder if I could just place it as some highlights here. That could work. All right, and then we'll use this purple here to just make this give it a little bit more depth here, I guess. Okay. That works. Don't want to go overboard with this, but that's probably all right. I don't know. What do you think? Hey, I'm curious, how do you go from a packed A sprite file like this to individual textures in Godot? I use an animated sprite 2D with animation tags, but it seems convoluted. Well, this is not a sprite sheet. I mean, I guess it is a sprite sheet, but it's not for animation. It's just an atlas texture. So I'll show you. I'm about to pull it into Godot here. I just need to do this real quick. I'll show you. Okay, so we've got our thorns, right? And so what I can do is I just export this whole artifacts.png like so. And then what I do in Godot is Crown of Christ and good. Nice. These thorns here. So this is an atlas texture. So if I make unique. So this is an atlas texture resource. You can see type atlas texture there. And then you pass your atlas in which is just your big texture that contains multiple sprites. And then you can edit the region here to change which, like where the sub region is that the texture is going to come from. So I just highlight this region here where my thorns is, and that's it, like so. How you would do that for animation, I don't know. I don't use like frame by frame animations. So animated sprite 2D, I think there's like you can automatically create a sprite frames resource from an Atlas texture for the purpose of using it in an animated sprite. And as long as your textures are packed in a way that's sensible, it'll work. Okay, there we go. We got our Thorns art now. Whenever an enemy damage is preserved, deal damage equal to preserved damage taken. How many pixels is your biggest texture, since mine is 4096 by 4096? I think my biggest texture is this one, which is what? 240 by 240. What's the benefit of doing 24 by 24 pixel art size instead of 16 by 16? It's all subjective. It depends on what's good for your game. In my case, an artifact size of 16 by 16 would have been too small, but 32 by 32 would have been too big. So 24 by 24 was just the size that I ended up on as like a midway point, where I have enough room to make them detailed enough, but they're not super detailed, right? And it's also like, you know, a lot of the things in my game, what I do is I take a screenshot at the native resolution, so 640 by 360. So I take a screenshot at this resolution here, and I pull that into Aseprite, and I start drawing the thing that I want to include in the game, and I see how it looks proportional to everything else. And that's basically how I decide on my size. So I don't remember if I did this exactly, but something that I would do is I would take a screenshot, say, okay, I know I want to show my artifacts on screen. So I'm just going to draw a random artifact. It may or may not end up in the game. I'm just going to draw an artifact sprite. So I drew it to the size that I thought was reasonable. And then I said, okay, what's that bounding box? And then I said, oh, you know, 24 by 24 is the bounding box, or I probably rounded to like the nearest even number. But that's how I decided on it. So that's how I decided on a lot of things for this game. Like these grid cells are 18 by 18, which is like kind of a weird number, but that's what looked good proportionally in my game. That's what I felt gave me enough space to do card art that was detailed enough without being overly cumbersome. And also, you know, considering like the player board size can grow and you've got the inventories and got a relatively small resolution. So figuring out like what a grid cell size would be for the game it was basically what I'm trying to say is it's all vibes, man. It's all vibes. I've been using a plugin that lets me use Aseprite files directly in Godot, which is why I went the tag route, but it seems like a lot for static textures. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm currently stuck between 16 by 16 fish or 24 by 24 fish, but realistic, I'll end up going with the 24 by 24 for the more detailed side of things. Yeah, I had to do some math to make it so that all 100 objects in the Atlas can animate, since those all have 120 frames each in the Atlas. It made animation simpler that way. Yeah, that makes sense. More useful information. Thank you, Firebelly. This is why you're the best. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. Hello, Zabraz. I'm doing well. How are you doing? Okay, so I guess we can say that thorns have been added. Cool. So that's done. I'm just going to write down thorns artifact here so I can mark it as done. Game is going well. I'm actually about to end the stream so I can make the Alchemortis playtest public for everyone. So legit the only game dev streamer I watch. All this info is taking in deeply, and I really appreciate you. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. You look fresh and energetic today. Nice to see. That's good, because I stayed up way too late playing Arc Raiders, as I mentioned multiple times in the stream. So I'm glad that I was able to bring out the energy for you all. But anyway, again, Alchemortis is available for wish listing on Steam. You're going to want to go to the Steam page if you're not a Patreon member, because this is where you're going to be able to join the playtest. So right after this stream, as soon as the stream ends, I'm going to get that playtest working. Join the Discord below if you want to be notified when that playtest goes live. And of course, if you want to give me feedback, there's a feedback channel in there. But yeah, get the Steam page ready. This is where you're going to be able to join the playtest. Add it to your wish list if you're interested in doing so. And of course, support on Patreon is appreciated as well. It helps me pay for various things that I need to do with the game. So again, the sponsored tier here, which is the highest tier, if you subscribe to this for at least 1 month, this is like a pre-order. I'm going to send you an Alchemortis Steam key when the game releases, so you don't have to buy it again on Steam. So Patreon support at this tier is basically a pre-purchase, and you will also get your name in the in-game Alchemortis credits, and you also get unlimited access to my course content. So if that sounds good, please consider subscribing. And yeah, I'm going to go... I'm going to go get that playtest ready for everyone who is not a Patreon subscriber. Shucks, an ad, yeah. All right, thanks for your support, everybody. Stay tuned. The playtest will be live for everyone very shortly. All right, talk to you later. Bye-bye.